Hi, I'm Father John Vella, and I just want to give you my reflection for this Sunday. This Sunday is the third Sunday of Easter, Year B. It probably would be helpful if you read the scriptures before you listen to this reflection, but not completely necessary. Okay, so these are based on a homiletic service that I was writing for quite a few years, along with the Dr. Diane Snyder. So here we go. Today I'd like to talk with you about the 3 R's. Not reading, writing, and arithmetic, but repentance, resurrection, and renewal. In the Gospel for today, Jesus declares, "Thus it is written that the Messiah is to suffer and to rise from the dead on the 3rd day, and that repentance and forgiveness of sins is to be proclaimed in his name to all nations." All 3 readings talk about repentance. Now, isn't this a Lenten theme? Why are we studying so much about repentance in the middle of the Easter season? Well, the connection between repentance and Easter is very strong. During Lent, we prepared for the Feast of the Resurrection by trying to put aside anything in our lives that brought death into our existence. And sin is our worst enemy in this regard. Sin gradually takes the life out of a person. It slowly leaches the goodness out of us and leaves us only faint shadows of the person God meant us to be. Habits of dishonesty or lying, infidelity or addiction can slowly take over our lives. At some point, we may find ourselves building our lives around a major disturbing influence in our lives. We spend time, money, and energy in nurturing that major disturbance. Our life is no longer our own. We have given it away to that death-inducing element that we call sin. If you have given your life over to your work, then you build everything around doing your job. Your relationship with your wife or husband, your care of the children, your prayer life, these and all other parts of your life come after your addiction to your work. You actually become married to your work. That's infidelity, isn't it? This is the power of sin. It draws our attention away from what should be central in our lives. It steals our energy from what should be life-giving and gives it over to emptying the life out of us. Soon we become hollow shells, living very narrow and superficial lives. The scriptures identify death as a result of sin, but it is not just physical death that is a result of sin. Sin creates death within us while we are still living. Sin kills us. Jesus' resurrection is a victory over death of all kinds. He has conquered the results of sin and given life back to us. And so we are called to repentance. That is our resurrection. That is where we experience new life. When we make the decision to no longer live lives that are empty and selfish, then we immediately experience the beginning of new life within us. Dying to sin, we rise with Christ. Yes, resurrection is not just for the future. It is meant to be part of our present experience. The saint is the fully alive person. He or she knows the meaning of newness. The grace of God is like an ever-flowing fountain within us. It has the power to bring light to those parts of ourselves that seem to be in danger of drying up. Excuse me. Getting over a cold here. Renewal comes out of our repentance. Sin actually clouds our vision. We don't clearly see what we are doing to others and to ourselves, as we actually become blind to many things that are going on in our lives. Repentance brings a renewal of our vision. We begin to see clearly once more. This new vision enables us to make decisions that are more in keeping with Jesus' commandment to love one another. Take the man or woman who has become obsessed with their job. For years they have been unable to see beyond their work. Their own sense of self has become tied to their job rather than to their relationship with God. And then the day arrives when they have to face this fact. Many different circumstances can force a person to come face to face with their obsessions. It really doesn't matter what the circumstance is. What does matter is the moment of decision that is given to a person. They can now see that they have to make a choice. This is the moment of grace. They can choose to grasp this opportunity or to ignore it. If they ignore it, they condemn themselves to many more years of living in the darkness. However, if they decide to pay attention to this graced moment and make a decision for light instead of darkness, then things will begin to change for them. They will no longer be a slave to whatever it is that is holding them in captivity. They will begin to see differently. The relationship to God and to others will take its rightful place in their lives. Resurrection will be theirs in a way that they can actually feel because their life will be new. And this is just one example. It can happen to us in 100 different ways. If there is any area of our lives that seem to be controlling us in an unhealthy way, then our life is out of balance. We are not fully alive the way God wishes us to be alive. The resurrection of Christ is the promise of new life, more life. Repentance, resurrection, renewal. May the Lord grant us the gift of all three.